Oh god, that was a noise. Are you okay, Louis? I
Yeah,
assume.
I'm all right. Yeah,
Did you just throw up, or was it a throwing up noise?
it was just a noise.
Just a fun noise that you decided to make.
It was how
Welcome.
it's how I say hello.
I'd love to see an example of that in real life.
You would. You want me to describe it in graphic detail?
Yeah, how you say hello to people IRL.
I just make a noise,
You just got someone go and they go
and then
and you
and
go
then I tell them to get out of my house. They're not welcome.
They are not welcome in your house. Why are they not welcome in your house then?
Get away from me with that straight jacket.
I see. Hello, welcome to Sometimes Video Games. I'm Adam, and as per usual, I know it's been a bit. I am joined by the lovely yet tired Charlie Walsh.
Have you heard of an app called Too Good to Go?
No, what is it?
Okay. I don't know if it's outside of London. I checked the website and it says major European cities, so I don't know what that counts as, if you know what I mean.
Too
Like,
Good to Go is a mobile
Paris.
application that connects customers to restaurants and stores that have
Right,
unsold.
hang on. You're getting ahead of yourself here. You're getting
Okay,
ahead of yourself.
okay, go on.
Which you're Googling. You're getting ahead of yourself. You need to let it play.
I need a Google.
So, you just chill, right? So, my girlfriend,
Mm.
a couple of years ago, she was like, I found this app,
Mm.
and it, like, when restaurants and stuff are going to throw away their food, you can just go and get it for, like, way cheaper.
Mm.
And I was, so what is it essentially is the loot box of food.
Yeah, so you get whatever, right?
So you go, you pay, you tell them you're turning, you have like, they have like a certain amount of slots or whatever, and you pay like way cheaper. So we went to Starbucks today. We did it first time we did it today, right?
Hmm.
And we went to Starbucks. We like ordered it for £4.
Okay.
And then you go, and honestly, it was like a loot box mixed with a drug deal. It was great. Okay. So I walk in, and I'm like waiting in line, and I go to the woman goes, "Hi, how can I help?" And I show her the thing on my phone that it says to show, because I've got no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
And I go, "Hi, I'm here to pick up this," and she goes, "Okay, yeah, 1 second." Walks round the counter into the back like room or whatever. Disappears from public view. Comes back with a bag, walks around the counter, hands it to me, and it just walks off. And I'm looking around, and I feel like everyone in Starbucks thinks this is some sort of complex drug deal. Because I've walked in, I've just shown something on my phone, I've not paid for anything, and then I'm leaving with a bag. She's not put anything in it, it just exists, right? And then I get home, and here comes the loot box element. You got no clue what you're getting in there, right? So for £4, okay, we got a vegan chocolate and caramel muffin.
Okay.
A tomato and mozzarella panini. A 5 cheeses toasty. And an egg and cress sandwich.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, that sounds like you've saved a lot of money.
Off the top of your head, what do you reckon that would be? And no Googling, I know you want to Google. Off the top of your head, how much do you reckon it would be?
Like
Bearing in mind, we paid £4.
So what do you say? You got a vegan caramel something or other?
Vegan chocolate and caramel muffin.
Yeah.
But tomato and mozzarella panini, 5 cheese toasty, and egg and cress sandwich. Starbucks.
So I'm guessing that's like 12 quid?
I was gonna say something like 12 quid.
Okay. Louis, do you want to go with a different one, and we can make this a competition?
But I feel like that's what it is.
It's up to you.
Like,
I think we're both going with the 12.
Okay, if you're both going to £12 for £4,
yeah,
the total what we got, £17.65.
Oh, that's a lot.
Again, this is a PSA.
Starbucks is pricey.
Starbucks is mad pricey.
Yeah, Starbucks is mad pricey.
We played the exact same game, and we were both in about the £8 range. And then
wait, you thought it was 8 quid?
Yeah, we don't go Starbucks clearly.
I'm thinking 4 quid for one of the sandwiches.
Yeah, no, 2 of them were like £5.50. Like it's mad. It's mad expensive there. But yeah, so this is more of a PSA. If it is in your area, check it out.
I'm gonna check it. I've got it written. I've got it on my thing here. I'm gonna check it.
We've been looking at the Greg's is on there.
There you go. We've got Greg's.
That's something we're gonna.
For real though, if you're living in poverty, right? That's a good option. That's a good way to get like takeout food.
It's a good way. It's a good way to get takeout food for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's not a good way to get your normal shop because you're still spending £4 on like God knows fucking what. But like it's actually it's a really good way to get takeout.
Well, it changes on price depending on where you're at. So Starbucks, for example, was £4, whereas Greg's is like £2.59, I think it was.
I wonder if that changes the amount that you get as well.
Well, I guess it changes per establishment, right?
Yeah, like how much they want to give out.
Yeah, like Greg's is obviously significantly cheaper than Starbucks because it's Greg's and not Starbucks. But mate, this is takeaway. This is a beautiful. So right now, I'm eating a tomato and mozzarella panini. Never had this before.
Wow,
it's right.
Is it good?
Right. Would I pay $5.50 for it? Hell
no. No.
Would I pay technically like £1? I guess.
Like £1, I guess. Yeah. That sounds good. Sounds good.
What's the most you would pay for that panini? I don't know the absolute limit you would pay for that panini.
How much would I pay for this panini? Not bad.
Is it tomato?
Tomato I'm not super into. I would go.
They're quite small as well.
Maybe.
They're quite small from Starbucks as well, aren't they? It's not like a big. It's not like a big panini. It's not like a chunky panini. It's like a.
Well, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know. I've never.
I mean, true, fair.
I'm not a connoisseur of the panini like you.
So fair. No, nobody's a panini.
I would
panini
say it's
connoisseur.
okay size. I would go in the £2 to £3 range max.
Sure. I think £3 probably fair. I think any sandwich, like £3 probably the max I'll buy a sandwich for, right?
Yeah, you're starting to get into meal deal territory at that point, right?
So exactly, yeah. So you just rather get a meal deal.
Start weighing your options up here.
What about you, Louis? How much would you pay for a panini?
So again, depends where from.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be willing to pay like up to nearly £4 if it was a really good panini.
Big. What's a £4 panini for Louis Birtwistle?
One that I would get. I'm trying to think. There was a place that like did a panini similar to that, and I'm like, I'd definitely pay £4 for that. It's a place in Manchester. Can't remember the place. A little independent place.
Oh yeah. So yeah, but those indie places are alright, right? Because they the little small places are good because they allow you to they're expensive but they taste good, right?
Yeah, it's good food.
And it's usually made well, and yeah.
Might have been Prime Minister actually. It might have been called Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. Would you vote for a pie to be Prime Minister?
We've got one.
I don't think Boris Johnson tastes good enough to be a pie, I'll be honest with you.
This is another question I have.
Okay.
It's video game related.
Oh, fuck.
And Boris Johnson related.
Yes.
If I were to make a video that implied the objective of the game was to directly kill Boris Johnson, would I get into trouble?
Wait, what are you saying? So you made a video that implied that the objective of a game was to kill Boris Johnson?
Okay, I explicitly said that the objective of the game was to kill Boris. Okay, so I came up with an idea.
I don't think you would. Is this a game? Is this a game that exists?
So I was this week. I had the idea of making, like, you know, when you play. Have either of you two played Hitman 2016 onwards? Hitman 2, Hitman 3. Louis, have you?
I played the first one and bits of Hitman 2.
Okay, so you know how, like, before, and Adam, you'll probably know what I'm talking about regardless, but you know how at the beginning of missions, there's like a like a briefing of what your mission is and who your objective is and who to kill and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they have like a fancy sort of animation going on, and they're like, your target today is Viktor Novikov, the Paris fashion dickhead or whatever, right? I was like, I had this idea because I was listening when I was working during the week. I was listening to the Hitman soundtrack, and all of a sudden it popped into my head. I was like, "Oh my god, I've come up with an amazing idea for like a parody one of those, like a fake one of those, but the objective is to kill Boris Johnson." at one of his lockdown parties in the garden at Downing Street.
Mm.
And I was like, that's such a cool Hitman level. You're breaking into like Downing Street, like all this stuff. And I was like, that could be funny. And like, I came up with like a couple of jokes or whatever. And then I told my girlfriend, she was like, no, you can't be doing that. I was like, why? She was like, I just feel like you might get into trouble.
I don't think you'd get in trouble for that. However, I do think it's kind of on the same levels as, you know, the game that came out called Hatred, where that was all about just killing actual real people that were game developers, like Anita Sarkeesian or whatever. Right? She was in that game that you can kill her, right?
I think that was what that game was.
I don't think she was. Like that game was something different. Hatred was about mass shootings, just a random. You're a trench coat wearing long haired man who just goes into a crowded area and just opens the fuck up.
I thought it was. I mean, either way.
The whole thing was him being like, "Oh, I hate the world. I'm gonna destroy everyone," and then it's him being all moody and edgy, and then he walks into a crowded place and just starts.
No, but either way, like that exists as a game, right? I don't know. Do you think it's different to have a targeted person?
I think it's different mainly because it's so clearly a joke. But
wait, what's a joke?
The Boris Johnson thing.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think there's a game called Kill Fred Durst Simulator.
That doesn't shock me.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Fred Durst deserves it, but you know.
But how dare you? He's an unlockable character in one of the WWE games. It's great.
Is he?
Yeah. I can't remember which one. I think it was Just Bring It. I think he was unlockable.
Oh, really?
PS2. Yeah, because he did the Undertaker's theme song. And WWE and Limp Bizkit were very heavily linked for like one album.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what.
I mean, like the thing is I can't be asked to make it.
Oh, it's never gonna get made.
But I cannot be bothered.
Yeah, it's not getting made. It'd just be funny.
I'd get in trouble.
I don't think you'd get in trouble for it. But I don't think like not legal trouble anyway, right? Like that's not a real thing. I don't think there's legal trouble involved in that. But I think maybe people would be angry in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. The thing is then I started coming up with different ways I could make it, which wasn't saying Boris Johnson was the target, and then I just realised I couldn't be asked. It's too much effort.
Yeah,
yeah. Still think there's some solid jokes in there, but I just can't be asked.
What joke would you? What's the first joke that comes to mind?
Playing with the form of the Hitman intro.
Okay.
As opposed, it's not just like, you know, it's a lot.
I've shot Boris in the balls, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's not that. You're not playing a Hitman level where you go and kill Boris Johnson.
You're not.
But you're playing a Hitman level where you go and kill Sean Bean.
What?
That is true. That does exist.
Does it?
That does exist.
Why does that exist?
It was one of they have like elusive targets, which are there's a really cool system in those Hitman games in the World of Assassination trilogy, as they like to call it, the latest three, where they have something called elusive targets, where they're only in the game for like a couple of days to a week, and you get one shot, and it's just a brand new target in one of the levels, and you just have to go and try and try and kill them, and you have one chance to do it. Like it's like a daily challenge run in a Binding of Isaac or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It's an elusive target, and one of them was Sean Bean.
Oh, why?
As in, he played the person, and the person was Sean Bean.
Interesting. I mean, it's cool that he played the person.
He was like an actor in a level.
It
was a whole thing.
That sounds like a whole thing. Cool. I'm also here with Louis Birtwistle. How are you today?
I think you did introduce me already.
I don't think I did. I'm going to assume I didn't. I'm just going to assume that that's the case. How are you? Are you nice? Are you having a nice time? Are you nice? Are you nice? Are you good? You having a good time? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm having a nice time.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're having a nice time, Lou. Because it would be bad if you weren't. It'd be.
It'd make me want to murder people.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That's
very violently.
We don't want you to murder people very violently. not massively. I don't know what's liking Hitman. Liking Hitman. What have you been up to? What have you been up to? What are you doing?
I've been playing video games.
Oh.
The new since we last recorded, the new Destiny 2 expansion came out.
Yes, it did. Yes. Are you all about that life?
It's the best one they've ever released.
That's fair. That's fair.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not the biggest, but it's the best.
Why is it so good? Why is it so good, Lou?
The story content was better. They kind of turned story missions into a more like fun activity to do instead of just something you jump into for like 4 minutes and then it's over. Because a lot of the campaigns previously you play the story missions just to basically progress forward and not really kind of really get involved with like the story that's going on or what's really happening.
Okay.
But this time it's like you feel very involved with the game's storyline, and all of the new areas look really interesting, and it's just very aesthetic, man. It just looks really good. It feels really good, and the story missions are really long, and it's nice.
Ooh.
And there's like none of the filler content, the really dull filler content that all of the.
None of it, you say? None of it? That's impressive, right?
Yeah, none of the dull filler content. Yeah.
To be fair, does Destiny usually have a lot of filler content? I'm not entirely certain.
It does. Like every expansion, they like do. I don't know. They have like activities, or like they call them like Empire hunts or like Nightmare hunts, where you just go load into a thing, do a thing, then go kill a boss. It's just like just bits of stuff like that, which is just the
Not
same
for
thing,
you.
but just done. It's just the same thing, but done again
I get you.
for a different
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be into that stuff, but I understand. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
So yeah, they
Yeah.
seem to have broken away from that and just put in really long, interesting story missions.
That's good. That's a good thing, though. I think, right? It's always good. It's always
yeah,
good.
it's good, definitely good. And the new raid was both the hardest and the best one they've made yet. Well, it's not the
Really?
hardest. It wasn't the hardest like day one experience, for instance.
No.
But it was, I don't know, maybe the second hardest.
I mean, that's always good, right? I mean, you're looking for difficult stuff, right?
Yeah, but I didn't manage to do it.
No. How many did you say did manage to do it?
892 teams, I think.
And that's a lot less than normal, right? I think you mentioned.
Oh yeah, times that by 6. Yeah, I mean I think for Deepstone Crypts, 6,000 teams got it, and for which is very high, and then for Vault of Glass, I think 2,000 teams got it.
Wow, that really does seem like not a lot compared to everything else. I don't know. Did you expect that to happen, or did you not?
I did not expect that to happen. If I knew there was a level of difficulty like involved in the day, I would not have played with the people that I did.
Really? Did you sandbag? Were you sandbagging?
I chose to play with my friends who I knew were already competent at the game, as opposed to people who I was invited to play with who were a lot better.
Sure.
But I decided, I mean, it would be fine if I just play with people who are my friends. They're still quite good at the game anyway. And then I just horribly misjudged how difficult the raid was going to be.
I don't think you can't judge from not knowing, really, can you? Or do you know the raid before?
There was a bit of a trend going on. So after Deepstone Crypt, they released VOG, which was still considerably more teams beat it than what would usually have beaten a day one raid. Like, because before that, like Garden got less than 100 teams completing the raid, and Last Wish only had 2 teams beat it on the first day.
Oh no. Interesting.
So I don't know. To me, it seemed like there was a trend going where they were just going to make day ones easier and a bit more accessible to people. So like a few thousand teams could still get it, but I was horribly wrong. And it was really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I have no real. I don't know. I don't know how it's supposed to be, so I don't really have an idea. But I
Yeah, but
mean,
what the good thing was is that there wasn't any like really obtuse puzzle solving mechanic.
mm,
It was there were puzzle mechanics in there, but it was more all of the difficulty was purely in was in the mechanical skill.
like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's probably good. Probably good.
It is a good thing because like what made Last Wish so difficult, my only two teams beat it, is that one of the encounters was a puzzle that was so hard that the first team to to finish that encounter didn't even do it properly. They brute forced it.
Oh, really? That sucks.
Yeah, that's how hard that puzzle was.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
And the
know, yeah.
chance and the chance of brute forcing that puzzle as well, I think, is like an astronomically low chance as well.
Hmm. Probably. Yeah. Sounds all right. Sounds all right. Are you up for it, Charlie? Are you up for some Destiny, Charlie?
No, I don't think he is.
Never up for the Destiny.
I can't be asked. But I was going to ask Louis because I don't think we've spoken at least properly since. How do you feel about Sony buying Bungie?
Oh yeah.
I honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. Honestly, I mean, I feel like Bungie at the minute aren't particularly great because they can't ever seem to release anything that isn't completely broken or in a bad state. I mean, like the Witch Queen launch was fine, but the day one raid, which is what everybody, which is that's the to most people that's like the real release. That's what people really care about. And that
Yeah.
probably had one of the worst day one launch ever. People were getting error coded out of the raid. People were experiencing instance-based connection issues, and people getting like just thrown out of the instance back into orbit because it wouldn't load the next area properly because of a weird entity cramming bug.
Ah.
So it happened to us once where we got thrown into orbit, and we had to start the beginning section over again
Really?
from scratch.
That seems like
Yeah.
a bad time.
So that happened to us once, right? So we're like, okay, we're 10 minutes behind. Let's just roll with it.
Mm.
Now we weren't obviously world's first competitors, but obviously some of these teams are world's first competitors because they're that good. And one of those teams, it happened to them for an hour and a half. Now, once you're an hour and a half behind everybody else, you're not getting world's first anymore. They're like, it is over.
Yeah, that sounds about. It's got to be difficult, right? You're not going to be
Yeah, I
able
mean,
to do it from that.
if you're an hour and a half behind everybody else, it's straight up over. You are not getting first place.
You're just not like. There's no chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of these teams are so good that like, especially once one figures it out, the rest start figuring it out.
So what do you think Sony would do about that? What do you think? Do you think it'll help if Sony have bought Bungie or?
Well, I feel like Sony as an entity can simply provide more assets. Because to
Maybe.
me, like the problems all seem very similar, and I wonder if it's just an issue with a lack of assets
So they're not.
to be able to like play test stuff or to be able to like to be able to like polish stuff. I wonder if it's just like an issue with assets on Bungie's end.
It could very well be, right? They don't have the biggest team in the world, and they're not. I assume they don't have all the money in the world either. You never know, because Bungie, but I assume that their budget's going to increase somewhat. I don't know. Might not.
I mean, because one of the things I found interesting about the acquisition is how, I mean, there was two parts of it. One of it was Sony very openly saying they're still going to run completely as an independent company.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with anyone. Like, we're not going to intervene. We're not going to interfere. They could get to carry on doing what they're doing. We don't really want to come in and rock the boat like that. We aren't, they're still going to even release stuff under their own name. It's not like they literally run independently from us. And the other thing I found interesting was they were looking at Bungie as Sony really want to get into live service stuff. They realized none of their studios are anywhere near experts in that field. Like that's just not them.
Yeah. I think that's well.
Anyway, and they're like, right, we really want to get into live. We need from a business perspective, live service success to some extent, which is a very depressing thing to think about. But they feel like that's the way forward, or at least a way forward. Or
a lot of the industry seems to think that's the way forward at the moment, though, right?
And that they essentially want Bungie's expertise in that field to help them get to that state, help them form that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just interesting, and I find it interesting from Louis' perspective, is obviously
as a player of Destiny, yeah.
How that comes across. I mean, because I would assume the news that they're just gonna not interfere with Bungie being Bungie is probably a good thing. You would suspect.
I'm not entirely sure because, like, to be totally honest with you, the live service that is provided isn't exactly the best.
Really?
Because, like, the game's really fun, and like, there's a lot of fun content, but the problem is just there's still so many issues that have been in the game for so long.
But you don't think they're going to be fixed?
Yeah, no, they're not going. I don't think they're going to be fixed.
Okay. Would you want them to be? I assume you do want them to be fixed, but I mean, if Sony are not going to put any, they're not going to be supporting like Destiny with anything, then I guess they're just not going to be fixed, right? They're just going to exist and.
That's the thing is I don't know what that's the other part of it, right? Is like what does that actually mean in practice? Because you would suspect it would mean support but not interference, as if like Bungie came to them and said, right, we need this from you. They would give it to them, but like they wouldn't tell Bungie what to do. I don't know. It's just such a weird. It was really notable to me because it was so front and center of their statements when they bought them. Like compared to. There's a lot of other ones like
the Microsoft
when
shit.
a company gets bought. I don't even want to say Microsoft because I think it's everyone, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean Microsoft for the big, other company buying a bunch of stuff.
And the only reason I don't want to say it is because I just don't want to put it on them. But like,
sure.
they leave that stuff behind there's like a veil, right? Where they go, right, we've bought them. We really like what they make. We like them. But they don't actively go, we're not going to touch them. They just sort of go, we love the chance to like further grow their portfolio, blah, 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 whatever. That kind of nonsense, right? That kind of platitude nonsense that doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't say anything. So I found it so interesting that this one was so front and center. And I felt like that was directly, probably, in my opinion anyway, aimed at Destiny fans who would probably be quite concerned that, all of a sudden this big corporate giant's come and taken over Bungie.
Well, originally we had Activision.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, right?
Let's just say they were the fucking worst, man.
Yeah, that's
so like they were forcefully like driving how Bungie developed their game, how Bungie told its story, and it's just it's almost as if they didn't allow them to make their games. Like, no, put this in your game, it sells, it makes money, and then they were surprised when like it initially flopped because like
they didn't know what the Destiny fans wanted, I guess, and then also. Like,
Activision seemed to think it fucking knew.
Yeah, Activision seemed to think it knew, but they didn't know, and they were just like, "Do this, and then that eventually like just murdered the game a little bit, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's continue with instead of continuing with the Destiny 1 storyline. It's like, oh no, let's do this big epic new storyline. Let's just retcon the old one out of fucking existence. And it's like, what?
Okay, yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. This didn't happen. Do this. It'll sell.
This will sell. I promise you. It will sell. I don't know. I feel like it's
Look, actually, no. We made Look, we should know. We made World of Warcraft.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, World of Warcraft's not good, right? We're aware of that. It's not good anymore.
I mean, we say that.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I
It's
don't
like
know.
the most successful live service game.
Yeah,
that's
I
ever
was gonna say.
existed.
I was
Like,
literally
Yeah,
gonna
but
say.
all of its players
Like, that doesn't-
actively
yeah,
hate it, though, right?
That doesn't, yeah, but all FIFA's players actively hate it, and yet they all still fucking buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I agree. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think success denotes quality, but at the same
No.
time, it is the most successful live
Yeah.
service game that's ever existed. Probably,
Yeah, sure.
outside of like Fortnite.
True.
Like, you've got Fortnite.
Although, do you count Fortnite as a live service game? I guess so, right? But
It's the most live service game that maybe ever existed. It's free to play. You just buy skins, and they continuously update it. They change the world. I think it's, if anything, that's where the trend of live service games coming back has come from. I think.
true.
I think that's why now you see live service games as opposed to just MMOs, right? Like,
Yeah.
Destiny to some extent is, like Louis described it as an MMO before, right? So
Yeah.
like, I think you can see the lineage from like World of
Where it's an
Warcraft to
MMO,
Destiny
yeah,
in terms of that. Whereas like, there's a reason every single game has the Fortnite menu and the Fortnite
Oh
monetization.
god, yeah, that
schemes and
Fortnite
all
menu.
those.
Yeah.
And every single game, including this one, has a fucking like season pass or something. Not a season pass, like what's it called? Not called a season, like a battle pass type thing, where it's
But oh god,
where-
yeah.
where I mean, in Destiny, it's like it's fine because if you buy like I don't know the deluxe edition, you get all of the seasonal content plus the expansion pass or whatever for the whole year, basically. So when you're buying seasonal content in Destiny, you're not just buying a battle pass. You're buying all of the gameplay content because it's like because Destiny has seasonal content drops like a lot of other games do now, where they'll have a big DLC, so they'll put a lot of resources into big DLCs, but they'll also put like a good amount of resources into like mini DLCs, which they'll release like every 3 months or something.
Like just basic updates and stuff that happen and have other things in it instead of.
And like getting the deluxe edition of the game, which for me I would always do because obviously I'm gonna play all that shit anyway. So I'd literally just be saving money because I'm gonna be playing it anyway.
Sure, yeah. Well, how do you feel? Because I actually saw this when Witch Queen launched. I think we've spoken about it before, but I'm not sure if we've spoken about it on podcasts and stuff. But because Destiny removes content that it owns, that is in the game.
Oh
right?
yeah.
I remember seeing a bunch of people complaining about that when Witch Queen dropped. Because I remember when they announced that they were doing it, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. And you were like, I think that's okay because of the size of the game. I think that was what the stance was at the time.
I think it's okay because I was like, I mean, it's all content, man. Like, who's really fucking playing? Like, who's playing that old content apart from like maybe about 7 people?
I mean, maybe, but my stance was always for it was for new players. So.
Like to me, it's just old news. Like no one realistically plays a game that just sits on that's been sitting on their shelf for like 3 years or whatever. I mean, you might play that game again. I know you're like a big fan of Mirror's Edge, but it's like, who else do you think is playing Mirror's Edge like right now?
Let's see the Steam stats for Mirror's Edge. I don't. It's not the same thing though, is it? Because like you're actively playing.
But it's just a comparison.
But you are actively playing Destiny, but you're actively playing a game that has fewer elements than it used to, or maybe different elements than it used to. Right? Some elements have been removed, some elements have not. Some elements are new.
I also think me and you Adam come from different perspectives.
I think that's true as well.
In the sense of Louis is also incredibly aware of what that content is.
Yeah.
I said the content.
Nah.
Like Louis has played through all that. Louis knows exactly what it is and would have a better perspective on it. Also, at the same time, I think Adam, you're very much you have, out of everyone I know, you have the biggest FOMO of everyone I know. Like it doesn't sit right with me either. The idea of the content like missions disappearing or whatever, but I also have no clue what those missions are.
But I'm thinking of in case of like story stuff, like I don't know if any of that's like if it's just like a map's gone, like okay fine whatever, who cares. But like if it's like a bunch of story content that's gone missing, which I think is the case, I find obviously I might be different, but I don't understand how new people would get into that game if like a buttload of the story's just gone missing.
So I obviously played Destiny 1 to some extent, not a lot, but I played it only for like 10 hours or something. And then I played Destiny 2 a little bit with Louis, and then a little bit with my girlfriend and her brother for a little while. And one of the things I could say is since that stuff has disappeared, when I played it again with my girlfriend and her brother, it was significantly better at that stuff than it was before.
Yeah, sure.
Like stuff might have disappeared, but actually coming into it, I was significantly more likely to get into the game from that perspective than I was beforehand. I was shocked by how much better it was. Mainly because I didn't really know that's what was happening. Like when I started playing it, I was like, wait, all of this what's this? Hang on, this isn't the beginning I'm used to. This isn't this I'm used to.
Because I guess all of the new content is up, like all the better content is in up front,
and
right?
specifically from a single, it was completely new, and specifically from a single player perspective, it was like the onboarding was so much better. Now, from the perspective of someone who's just playing it to play it with other people, like who've already done all this stuff, like it felt a little bit like a waste of time. But that's mainly because I knew I was never going to play it outside of that context.
Of course, sure, yeah.
If it was a case where I was like, oh, I'll probably play this game more another time, then I think it would have been different. But it's one of those ones where you're playing a game to play it with your friends, and then all of a sudden you have to do.
Because they're different. See, they're different games, and I'm thinking specifically at because Louis says this is an MMO, so I'm comparing it to the MMO that I play, and so Final Fantasy 14, and I'm saying, okay, so if Final Fantasy 14 just up and removed like the first DLC content or the first the base game story, and just said, right, you start at Heavenswood now. You don't do any of the story that doesn't exist anymore. I feel like a lot of people would be missing out on stuff because it's such a story-based game as opposed to it being I don't know. I don't feel like Destiny's as story-heavy as Final Fantasy, obviously, but compared to like a game you just dust about with your mates, like you playing FIFA with like 3 other people, or let's say Mario Party. You playing Mario Party with 3 other people, and them going, right, we're gonna, as a seasonal thing, rotate maps in Mario Party. That doesn't matter, does it? Like, no one cares. You might miss a couple mini games that go missing, or you might miss like a couple of interesting uniques on a certain map, but it doesn't matter, does it? But when it comes to a story thing, it starts to matter to people who want to watch all of the story, because you're starting halfway through the story and you won't get access. You can't get access to the beginnings of the story, right? I guess that's my sense.
I suppose, I don't know. In my eyes, it's kind of like hoarder mentality, like just wanting to have something around for like just having the ability to be able to play it again.
It's not for people who have already played it. Is my point. It's for people who haven't yet played it and want to experience the story of the game. Because you're probably not. I mean, I know in some MMOs you do like grind content, like old content for drops or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to go back on Final Fantasy 14 now and play any of the old dungeons unless I want to play them for the story's sake, which I can. But for new players, and I mean, that game was sort of like so popular at a point in time that it was taken off store shelves because it had too many new players. You know, you can't just drop the first like chapter of the story. It's like walking into Game of Thrones at the middle of the season and being like, "Who's that guy? Why is he dead? Who's that? I don't know what's going on." Don't know.
I mean, and it would be something for Louis to reply to before Louis said anything. I also don't think they would take out that stuff if it was important.
If it was important, yeah, maybe.
I don't know if Bungie, who spent however long and however much money crafting a story, would go, actually, let's just chop out the first act if it was like a vital thing. You know?
Sure.
That's just us projecting.
But then that's also
concerned that happened. But I don't know if that actually happened.
Well, yeah. each DLC is like its own storyline in a sense.
Well, yeah, that's like all MMOs. But is there no overarching narrative or anything, or is it just
There is, but it's like, well, I mean, if you wanted all of that stuff, then really you should have been playing Destiny 1.
You can still
If you
play
wanted to,
Destiny 1
like,
though, can't you?
no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you still can, but like nobody does. About five
Sure.
people play Destiny 1, and no new players are going to be playing Destiny 1. They're going to be playing Destiny 2.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I come from a different, like, a different perspective, right? Like, my perspective of, I play video games for the story more than the gameplay. And I know that, like, if it's an overarching story, I'd want to start from the beginning. I wouldn't want to start Lord of the Rings from Return of the King. Even if they're different stories, even if they're like, I mean, maybe it's different. Maybe it's like comic books, right? Because you can't really start from Superman 1. I mean, you can if you really want to, but that's what, how many years worth of fucking stories there?
Enjoy trying to get Action Comics #1.
Exactly, right?
From like, what, the 1920s.
Yeah, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Charlie, in a way that I'm pretty. I don't know whether I class this particularly as FOMO, but it's more of a like a I would like to see everything if I'm interested.
It's a completionist mindset, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a completionist mindset.
Yeah.
Like I do have this sort of completionist mindset in terms of like stories and stuff. Particularly, I want to see all of it if I am interested in it, or enough of it that I'm like, all right, I don't want to see any more. But I want to experience it from the beginning, I guess. And I guess it's kind of, I don't know, it just feels weird for me personally. Maybe nobody else is. Maybe everyone else is fine. Maybe nobody else gives a shit. But it always feels a bit weird to me.
The point I make, because it feels weird to me too, but the point I'm making is, it would be that I think the people who it would feel most weird to would be Bungie themselves, and if they're doing it, it's the Mass Effect 3 ending debacle. It's like they changed it. Well, clearly they wanted to change it. It's artistic intent, right? Yeah. If the artist is like, well, we want to change this, then they can change it. You know,
they haven't changed it though. They've just removed it, right? They haven't changed anything.
I don't know what the difference between changing and removing is. Is removing not a form of changing?
A removal is a change, but
yeah,
the implication of changing is like I've moved. This character no longer stands there and stands like 20 miles away. The implication of removing is I can't do this anymore. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, but the outcome is the same.
They're both changes, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
The outcome is the same, and that's the point I'm making. Is like Bungie are probably the people who would feel weirdest about this.
Sure,
the fact they
sure.
spent however
long working on it, yeah.
writing it, not writing it. English. However many people spent writing it, how much time, all of that stuff. If they've then gone, right, we're going to take this out and move this here and do this, that, and that, it's probably for a good reason.
Sure, I mean, yeah.
Like if I played, I feel like if I had played it, this is why I'm interested in Louis' perspective on it specifically, is because if I had played it before and after, which I've played Destiny before and after, but I have no idea like the specifics of the changes because I don't live within that community, right? So like I know they did stuff because it was so different the second time or the third time I played Destiny 2 or whatever. But, then I would be able to have maybe a better perspective on like what is and what isn't, what has and hasn't happened, what is and isn't this and that and the other. Whereas from my perspective, it's like the developers did it, the artist, if you want to word it in that terms in this argument, did a thing. They're probably the people who are best. They probably know best. So fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
So now that I've spent the last like 20 minutes or so defending the Destiny content vault, I am now gonna say why I think it's a terrible thing.
Oh no. Okay.
Lay it down.
Go on.
I feel like the content that it's replaced the old content with is not as good.
Oh, you mean
I feel like I never really understood like how much I missed the old content or the ability to play the old content, like Adam said. Before it all went away, like I was all happy for its removal because it was just like, I mean, it's old news. Just like I was happy for it to go. Now it's like the content has been replaced. Like it feels like there's less of it, and it's not better.
Okay.
Like Destiny got rid of most of its raids, and its raids was so good. like the story campaigns necessarily weren't like good. I mean, Curse of Osiris was like an absolute rip off. I mean, I was happy for all that to go, but it was, I don't know. For me, it was the raids, man.
Yeah, I guess you're missing the raids, right? Because it's like Final Fantasy wise, all the raids are still there and still intact, right? I can go back and do any of them whenever I want, I suppose. Is the main thing there, I suppose, main takeaway, right?
Yeah. And do you do raids weekly for loot?
People do, absolutely, yeah, people do. Or go out and do because I haven't been playing it for a while, but people go off and do like mount quests and loot quests and like go off and get like specific, because the fashion's a big deal in Final Fantasy, so people might be like, oh, I really want that specific piece of armor, so I'll go back and do this raid which drops that specific piece of armor.
Destiny and Final Fantasy really do sound like similar games.
Yeah. I mean, they're both MMOs, right? It's only one has, I guess, more of an emphasis on its story than the other, right? I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it's going back to Hitman. It's like the elusive targets, right? I find that deeply annoying.
That they are elusive targets, or that they exist, or
that they're gone after a while.
Oh, that they're gone after a while. Okay.
In that there's a rumor that goes around every single time there's going to be a Hitman sort of major-ish announcement that they're gonna just put all of the elusive targets in the game as like a DLC thing, just like here are all the elusive targets. You can enjoy them however you want now. But I find that idea of like, here's a target that's in the game, that's like a mission that's in the game for like a week, and you get your own single opportunity in, and it's gone. Like, I'm like, as someone who loves that game, I'm like, I wish I could just sit and play all of those, but
yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Like, but I think it's quite similar in that sense. It's just done on a different time scale. It's not someone set out and said you have this for a week out of the gate. It's just.
I think that's the big problem as well with me. Is that like if they'd mentioned from the start, hey, this is how our story's gonna work. Obviously, they didn't know at the start that was how the story's gonna work. But if they'd have gone, yo, we're just gonna get rid of stories as and when, I probably would have been a bit like, that doesn't sound good. But I probably would have been a bit more accepting of it than them doing it retroactively.
How do you feel about like daily challenges in a roguelike?
Can I just quickly touch upon the old Hitman elusive targets thing and how Charlie finds it really frustrating when that's gone after a week. Pokemon's been doing this for fucking years.
Oh yeah, Pokemon.
And nobody seems to bat a fucking eyelid at it.
That's
and
just Pokemon, man.
I think it's the worst thing they've ever implemented. Oh, you have to go to this, or you have to go to a game store on this weekend, or you have to do this within a month, or you don't get this Pokemon.
That is the worst. It is bad.
It is the worst.
Yeah.
It is the absolute worst.
Look,
it's like, why?
Although with these things, and I think it's important to look at it through another perspective. With the stuff like the Pokemon, they're looking at it like within a specific like Japanese mentality, where everyone's kind of about in the city all the time. Like if you live in the big city, you're in the city all the time, and like just going over a game and getting a Pokemon at an event may or may just be something that you do on your way to work. Like,
I mean, I don't know if that's a Japanese thing, or are they looking at it like
maybe it's a city thing, right?
Or David Attenborough has to go to one specific place to see one specific animal at one specific point in time.
I mean, true.
That's why that exists, right? I don't know if it's even a city thing. It might just be that's a wildlife thing, I guess.
I mean, it's not really.
I've always found it frustrating and annoying to some
extent. It is frustrating and annoying.
I've not ever sat down and tried to catch them all, as it were. So
no, neither have I.
It's never been something that's frustrated me to the point where I've been like, but I've always been like, oh, I'll never be able to get that Mew or whatever. That was,
Yeah. Daily challenges. What do you mean about the daily challenges thing? You mean if like, how do I feel about like just them being a thing?
Same thing, right?
I guess.
Like ultimately, it's kind of the same thing. Here's a mission, and it's going to disappear.
But it's on a much lower, a much lesser like scale, right? Isn't it? Because usually the daily challenge stuff is like, it's a mission, go kill 10 Pidgeys or whatever, right?
No, not like not like in Fortnite, like a daily challenge run. So like say in Binding of Isaac, get one chance at this run and and once you die it's gone forever. In any game like that.
That sounds crazy.
There's loads of them.
I don't know how I feel about that. I've never had that experience, so I have no idea. It sounds rough. It sounds like there's a lot of pressure to do it, right? I feel like I'd be under a lot of pressure to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, and then there's like a leaderboard, and everyone knows how well they did on that one specific challenge, that one specific day, but they never come back.
True.
It's that same idea, and it's one of the things that loads of games have picked up on from roguelikes.
Because that's something that exists.
The one that I remember it the first in is Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't think I've played a game with one of those, and to be fair, so I'm struggling to connect.
I mean, Binding of Isaac challenges, they were really fun because obviously it's just the content you would normally find in the game, but everyone gets like the same exact layout, and it's basically who can beat it, the best, as you will.
Okay. It seems, I'm not sure. I can't really relate. I don't actually have an answer because I don't know. I've never really played anything like that. I don't think. It doesn't happen in the games that I play. Strangely.
That's fair. It probably hasn't. You've just not realized.
I probably also, yeah.
Like so many games picked up on it. I was shocked how many games picked up on that specific thing. I mean, it makes sense, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe I've just not noticed. Maybe it's in everything.
What about if a band released a song and
then
it
it's
was up
gone
for a
in
day,
5 minutes?
And then after this day, you're never gonna be able to.
I'd be pissed. I'd be genuinely, if I like that song and I could never hear it again, I'd be really upset.
I mean, the way the internet works, obviously, it would exist out there, but
I mean, it would. Yeah, it would illegally exist, I guess. But like, I guess hypothetically, it's this song no longer exists. It existed for a day and now no longer exists.
Yeah, now it is gone.
I'd be very upset at that. I'm upset at that possibility. I think it's a very horrible possibility. I don't like the possibility of that even existing. Would you not feel weird?
I'd just be like, bruv, you wasted your time. What are you doing?
Would you not, like, if you listen to a song and you're like, this is the best song I've ever heard, and then all of a sudden it's just gone?
Find another song. I like lots of songs.
I like lots of songs, but still.
You know, I'll just listen to flipping. It smells like Teen Spirit or something. I don't know. Like it's you know, it's one of those things where it's like, whatever. I'll find it. I don't really find, but that's the thing where I guess the Destiny thing doesn't sit right with me, but it doesn't annoy me because I'm like, this isn't a decision they just take lightly. There's clearly reasoning behind it, so you just move on with your life, right? But I'm always like that with everything. I'm just like, whatever.
I mean, it doesn't trouble me. I'm not sat there like going, oh shit, this is something that really bothers me.
Waking up in sweats. Oh, they've deleted content from Destiny.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I don't care, but like it makes me feel unusual. It makes me not comfortable. And if I was super invested in Destiny, like Louis is, I don't know how I would feel. I don't think I would feel super okay with it. But you know, it is what it is, right? It's what it is.
I mean, that's my stance for most things in life.
What is what it is.
I'm just like, it is what it is, and then you move on.
Yeah, you do move on. Like, it's not gonna, like I said, even if I was super into Destiny, it wouldn't keep me up at night. I wouldn't be like, shit.
I don't know. It sounds like it's keeping you up at night now.
It's not.
You sound restless.
I'm the one who's tired. Yes, Charlie. I'm the one who's up at night. Oh jeez. What were you doing up at night other than working? Did you do anything else? Any other fun stuff?
No, honestly, no. It's kind of depressing. I've been trying. You have heard very briefly of my attempts to mod PES going very badly.
Yeah, I have heard a couple. Yeah. Is it still going badly?
I've uninstalled it. I'm trying again. So I obviously when the new PES came out, I don't particularly want to play it.
Yeah.
Like if it got good, like I'm gonna try it again at some point just to see how them making this terrible mistake goes. Out of morbid curiosity more than anything else. But I will go back to it at some point. Just download the because they were like, oh, the next updates were gonna be in February or whatever. So, and then I know everything got delayed. So I'm suspecting, if not now, around this time, they're at least starting to put together something that resembles kind of what they wanted the final product to look like. Because that was the thing, is like, it was obviously a difficult situation because it was very clearly rushed.
Okay.
And so, like, now we're at a stage where maybe this is sort of what they're aiming for. Right? Can't say that for certain, but that's how it seems. So I will at some point go back to eFootball 2022
God,
and
really?
see what that vibe is like. I'm not looking forward to it, but I will.
God.
But in the meantime, I decided that trying to mod PES 2021 was the good idea. Because there's because the modding community for it is really big, and the modding community for PES in general has always been really large. Because they've always, as a game which hasn't had licenses, has never had the licenses that most
true,
people
yeah,
want and
yeah.
need. That gets filled in by fans, right? So you've always had a very strong modding community all the way back to like PS2 days. Like, it's always existed.
Wow.
Like, because they have edit files on, like, PES is very, it doesn't openly encourage you to mod or edit or whatever, but it does have a fairly robust editing system, which people use to essentially make the licenses for the game, to the extent where, interestingly, over the last couple of PESs, the last 3 or 4, the edit mode was exclusive to PlayStation and PC only, and that was one of the selling points of those platforms.
Yeah.
That was like a deal. They had like a deal with Sony, like, I don't know, like GTA 4 had with Microsoft with its DLC, except it was for the edit mode in PES. Like, that's how much of a sort of big deal it is, and sort of how supported it was, right? So I was like, oh, I could try mod it. That could be the answer to my problems. And I started looking into it, and there's loads of different, obviously, as you'd expect, there's tons of different mods. And the PC seemed like the easiest way to do it, mainly because on PlayStation you have to pay to get the mods. Like, the modding community is still quite large, but
really,
a lot of it is like paid. So there's like a website that has all the mods on it called PES Universe, and you pay to become a member of the website, and then you can get different mods and whatever. And then you download them onto a hard drive and then put them onto the plate. It's just a lot of effort.
That sounds like a lot of effort, yeah.
But this is where we come to, right? I thought to myself, being a smart boy with a big brain, that I could buy it. So I bought PES on PC because it was £5 on sale. It was on sale for £5 the day the new one came out. And I had this idea when the new one came out. I was like, sweet, I'll just get it on PC and then I'll mod it or whatever. But as someone who just likes playing PES, I got it and then just started playing it and then never ended up modding it because I'm an idiot. So last 2 weeks ago or something like that, I was like, right, do you know what? I'm here. Some PES video got recommended in my YouTube feed. That was someone who was playing like a heavily modded version, and like I was looking at all these different interesting mods. A lot of which were just like, here's something that changes the graphics. Here's something that changes the licenses for kits. Then there's some which are like, here's something that changes the gameplay and different aspects of that. Which, you know, if you're planning to play one game for a significant amount of time, sort of sounds interesting. Hey, here's different, slightly better goalkeepers, or slightly different this, or slightly easier goalkeepers on certain difficulties or whatever. Because when you get to the hardest difficulty, the goalkeepers just become fucking invincible, right? And so I thought, yeah, all right, I'll get into it. Let's do it. So I start downloading the mods that I need. And there are some paid ones, but there's like a really popular one called Virtua Red, which is free and does like a hell of a lot of stuff in terms of kits and that kind of stuff that I would be super interested in. Because as much as the gameplay stuff is like intriguing, like, it's not something that I'm like jonesing for. Really, what I'm jonesing for is for West Ham to have the West Ham kit and to have all the right players and be able to just have fun, right? And so I was like, okay, this one is free, let's go. And honestly, my big boy brain was not big boy enough, apparently. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I've done wrong. It just was not good. Like,
it's not helping.
The kits were working.
Yeah.
But like not much else.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Like, the game still ran fine. But like a lot of the elements just were not active, let's say. Like, for example, it's a huge mod. I was telling you this the other day, but
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
like PES in general is probably like, I don't know, a couple of tens of gigabytes. I don't know how big it is. Let's just say 20 gigabytes for sake of argument, right? The mod, just so they've made loads of stadiums as well. That's one of the other things, because base PES starts with like 40 stadiums, and I think half of them are fake and half of them are real. And everyone just gets if you don't have the license for your real stadium, like Old Trafford, for example, is one of them, the Manchester United Stadium, then you just get given one of the fake ones, right?
All right,
That's
sure,
That's sort of vaguely the one that looks most like your real stadium, and even then, sometimes they don't look anything like it. But whatever. So they made tons of new stadiums to the point where, say, PES is usually 20 gigs. Just the folders for the new stadiums they've built is 221 gigabytes big.
Oh my god.
So there is a lot of stuff going on here, and none of that was working. I don't know what I did wrong. Just I fudged it somewhere along the line.
Somewhere.
And it just wasn't working. Now, I was enjoying playing the game still, with West Ham having the nice new West Ham kit, which I think is very attractive. I'm like, that's a nice kit, and I'm enjoying that to some extent, which, if anything, sort of gives me more impetus to try and actually figure out what I've done wrong, because then I know I'm going to go absolutely hog wild for this. But yeah, so far not good. I will say though, one of the positives, they also have they've redone all the menus. So the menus are the same, but they've just put different graphics over the top and stuff. But they've completely changed the soundtrack for the game.
Oh really?
So they've completely put in loads of new songs. So it's not just the same 10 songs or whatever. And I didn't know this at the time when I downloaded it, and that was one of the things that did work. So when I turned on PES and then all of a sudden Thunderstruck by AC/DC started playing, it was very exciting. I was like, oh my god, no, songs, new songs.
Way.
And
I mean, new songs is good, right?
It was new. Honestly, it sounds like putting new songs in the menus on PES sounds like the most minor, pointless change in the world until it happens, and you're like, this is the greatest. I want a mod that's just new songs now. I just give me all of Katy Perry's early works on here. I don't know what. Just give me some. I just want new. It's so fun to just especially not knowing, because again, it's a bit like imagine playing. I mean, Destiny's a good example, right, of a game that you play a lot, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, instead of the menu music you're used to, flipping something like the White Stripes comes up. And you're just like, oh my god, yes! What a tune! It was very exciting.
It's just fucking Seven Nation Army, and you're like, oh no.
Honestly, and the best part about it, they've all been bangers. There hasn't been a single dud so far.
Really, that's impressive.
So that's all I've done really. And I've played a little bit of Horizon here and there, and played a bit of Rocket League with my friends yesterday. But apart from that, I've not really had the time to even really play anything or deeps anything in that sense. I've just been making videos of people going down mountains quite quickly.
Sounds okay.
Very impressively, but it's not a game.
It's not a game, no.
Not a game. No. Yeah. So I'll this PES journey will continue.
The PES journey will continue. You will update us on the PES journey. Eventually.
I will update you on the PES journey. Eventually, you're gonna have to have a very happy guy who's playing with Nikola Vlasic in the right kit. It's going to be very exciting. But for now, it is unfortunately still Jesse Lingard, and we move. Really?
No, you don't want the Jesse Lingard.
He's a good footballer, but he's not. I want Nikola Vlasic in a correct kit, not at West Ham and West Ham having the wrong kit. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, I see. I get you. I understand.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to you guys, but I've fallen in love with the game.
I feel like I know what it is, but I've forgotten.
Is it Hollow Knight?
It's damn Hollow Knight.
That's what it was. I remember now. Yeah.
I have been playing Hollow Knight on stream during the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, first of all,
yes,
congratulations on getting affiliate.
Oh, we got that.
Congratulations.
It only took us a week. It's fine.
Mate,
listen, it's good. It's good.
All praise be to the football management community.
I mean, to be fair, right? Yeah, football management, and so the thing that got me there was on the day, the extra day that I had to do, to get the affiliate status. I think I was probably already there, to be fair. But then I got my my stream summary for the day, and I actually had a bigger day on the first day I did Hollow Knight. Then
Really?
yeah, it was the I got raided like immediately as soon as I started playing, because someone saw that I was trying to reach affiliate, and there were like 42 people in chat for the whole stream.
Oh, I love that.
It was like,
That's sick.
oh shit. I know it's. I got a follow off that, to be fair, which is pretty cool. But nobody else spoke. But I mean, yeah, I started playing Hollow Knight for stream. Football Manager also did a good job, and I didn't realize that Hollow Knight was so good.
Sure.
I just didn't
Sure.
realize it. Like, I think there was nothing. I think so. I'd heard about Hollow Knight. Obviously, I don't think either of you have played it. Have you?
No, I've been meaning to. I know a lot about it. I've been meaning to, but I've not. In a very me fashion, I haven't got round to it yet.
Not had the time. So essentially, it's just a Metroidvania game, right? It's just like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but it's got an incredibly cute art style, and it's just like that, but to perfection, right? It's so good. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, because I liked Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I like Metroid games, but they're not like the big deal, right?
Sounds like something a person who doesn't like Metroid games would say.
True, yeah.
I like Metroid games.
I like the Metroids. I like the Metroids. I like when the Metroid turns into the ball and goes pew pew.
Yeah, fair. Do you like when the Metroid is Dread?
I've not played Metroid Dread. I wouldn't mind playing it. But yeah, I didn't realize that I just love it so much. Like, it's got elements of a lot of the stuff that happens in Hollow Knight are just elements from games that I'm not super interested in. Like, a lot of people sort of mention Dark Souls and stuff with it, which is obviously Elden Ring's the big talking point at the moment. But like, it's got like
the Dark Souls of Dark Souls games.
The Dark Souls games. It's got like that kind of element to it, and like it's tough, but it's tough because it's punishing, not because it's tough because it's like super hard. And then it's got like just genuine like Metroidvania stuff going on. I don't know, and the lore is great in a way that I never connected to in those sort of games like Dark Souls and stuff. Like, it's so enthralling. And stuff like Dark Souls where you have to read every item, I never really care. But I think because the art style's so nice and the world looks and feels so I don't know if inviting is the right word, but it feels inviting. I'm like reading items and I'm looking at things and I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. Oh, I want to talk to all of the characters like 20 times just to see if they've got different bits of dialogue and you know, get me different things about the world. I think it's the first time in a long while where I've played a game and just instantly been like, you know what, this is fucking incredible. Nice. Even Undertale, like I've been playing Undertale. Undertale is 100% a game that feels like it's made for someone like me. Even Undertale, I kind of was like, yeah, this is a good game.
Do you think part of it is potentially because of what's expected and unexpected?
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Like,
is.
you know, going into Undertale, you were probably going to enjoy it, whereas Hollow Knight, I mean, you might have.
I didn't have any expectations in Hollow Knight, but I was like, you know, I think I'll enjoy this, but I don't know how much. But I really enjoy it. Just from the silly stuff all the way up to even the combat, which is just simple. I just super enjoy it. Don't know what, I can't even pinpoint what it is I just love about it. I just like, this game's it. I was playing Football Manager today on stream because I've been streaming every day this week. So I've been playing Football Manager. I've been doing that on weekends. And I was sat there afterwards like, hey, I want to play Hollow Knight. You know? It's been a long time since I've gone, you know what? Hey, I want to play this. I want to play this game. It's weird.
You'd love to say it.
You do.
Can we get a Football Manager update, please? Or do you know what? I'm like, let's not.
Watch
can
the
I
streams.
get a Football Manager update?
You can.
I need to know what's going on.
You need to know what's happening with my team.
Where are we? Are we still in the Malaysian second division?
We are
New Zealand under-20s manager.
We are, yes. Yeah. So currently,
Louis, how up to date with Adam's Football Manager journey are you, for example?
I don't think I've ever been. Don't think I've ever been aware of what's canonically happened in the Adam Football Manager universe.
There's a lot, man.
It's a weird one. Well, to be fair, this is the start of a new journey. so it's not like he's missed a lot.
Yeah, we've moved. Kevin Druids is no more.
Kevin Druids is no more. Yeah,
Well, they exist still, but it's no.
They
longer
exist,
the-
but they're no longer winning the league because of me. So I started off the Football Manager. I'm me. I'm playing as myself, like as basic can be. I have no experience in Football Manager. I've set my manager to no experience in anything. I don't know anything about it. So, and I'll stand by. That's probably a boon for me, not knowing anything about Premier League football, and doing the things that I'm doing.
Name 3 Premier League footballers.
Okay. So, Declan Rice is one of them.
Bang.
Right.
That's one.
Fucking is Ronaldo playing for Man United, right?
Yep. 2. Love that.
And I'm trying to think of someone else.
Go.
Oh, there's the dude. I can't remember his bloody name now, but there's the dude. He's massive. He's like a massive guy.
There's at least 11 on every team.
I remember his damn. There is.
Yeah,
There is at
there
least
is.
11 on every team. You're right. I can't remember his damn name. I was trying to think of his name, but I can't remember it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's not.
Massive. Go on.
No, I'm
Big
not.
guy.
Yeah, he's just this big dude. I don't know. He's massive. Lukaku.
There you go.
There we go.
Bang. No
There we
Premier
go.
League knowledge, indeed. Look at that. You're
I
as
have some.
knowledgeable as the rest of them.
There we go. Yeah.
I know people who make videos about West Ham.
You forgot who like Harry Kane was though.
I mean, to be fair, he's not someone who would come to mind.
Paul Pogba.
I do know that name, but probably for lols. Anyway, it's pretty. I started off as the under-21s manager for the New Zealand national team. That was fun. Can't believe they gave me that job, but they did. I basically didn't do anything other than friendlies. So I ended up applying for some other jobs, and the job that I got, and I'm gonna have to remember the damn name of this team, because it's a name, Charlie.
I know. Yeah, I know what it is. Do you want me to say it?
Do you know, yeah, go on. Yeah, do you know the whole name?
So obviously, Louis, he went from Adam went from New Zealand under-20s manager to managing Malaysian second division side Project FAM MSN.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of the Project FA Malaysia, and then MSN, whatever that is, that is.
MSN.
Yeah, FAM MSN. That's the team that I'm managing right now. They are, as Charlie knows, but as nobody else seems to know, they are under 20s only. In a yeah, no one else is. No one else. So I'm only allowed to play basically children, versus full-grown professional football players. And yeah, it's good. Only Malaysian ones as well.
So me and Adam were on a call last week.
Mm.
And Adam was telling me about this team because I hadn't seen Adam's streams for a while, and I was like, "Who are this team?" And I was like googling it. I was trying to find their website. I couldn't find anything. Like there was no information on this team anywhere to be found. I was like, "Who are these random boys?"
Yeah.
And Adam's giving me these details. Like, Adam isn't allowed to play any footballer over the age of 20, which is just an odd stipulation.
It is for a Premier League team,
right? And then like Adam isn't allowed to play any player that isn't Malaysian. I was like, what is this random team? And so then as we found out, I mean, do you want to explain it? Like, what the hell they are?
I don't know if I know. Yeah. So they're. What did you mention? You found out they were kind of like a.
So they're
an underage.
So the FAM bit in their name is FA Malaysia.
FA Malaysia, yeah.
And essentially, it's kind of like it's it's a group of players that aren't currently affiliated with any other team, but that are part of the sort of the Malaysian FA feel like they have potential to be an actual good Malaysian professional footballer. And so there's this one random team in the second division called Project Fam MSN. Project FA Malaysia, and then the MSN stands for
I don't remember something in
it was
Malay.
something they were. It was something they were in partnership with.
Yeah,
But that are. It's kind of like it's almost like a faux university team. So for these players who don't have a permanent club, they play for this team while also getting opportunities to go to university and, you know, get an education as well as playing the game. Which is why Adam's only allowed to play players from Malaysia who are 20 years old and younger.
younger than certainly not older than 20. Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
And I'll be honest, like whenever I play Football Manager, I tend to play with like West Ham or another team, whatever. It doesn't really make a difference. But the point I'm making is, I have never seen statistics like that team. Like,
but they're kind of all over the place, right? Though, like there's guys with like 17 in fucking determination.
They'll be like mad determined and have like no ability to cross the ball whatsoever.
Like I've never touched a ball before, but I'm damn sure I'm gonna be the best there ever was.
I'm gonna give it
everything
my
I've got.
Shots. I'm gonna give yes, yeah. I've heard of football.
Premier League team, ladies and gents, is what Adam's created. It's a Premier League team.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've not created this team. They exist. They really exist. But yeah, I'm playing like children. I joked today that I was basically playing a JRPG. It was Children versus God. So I mean that happened. But
that is every JRPG, by the way. Every one of them.
It's most JRPGs at the very least. So yeah, we did. I'll tell you the goals for the board. The board have set goals for my team. They want to be competitive in the FA Cup, in the Malaysian FA Cup. Fair play. They also want to finish bottom of the Malaysian Premier League. Like, that's their goal. Their goal is to finish last.
They're like, listen, we get it.
This is
know
hard.
the drill.
This is a tough job. We're not going to win.
And looking them up in real life, they only had one. They've only had one season IRL so far,
and they lost all
and
but one.
They did indeed.
All but four.
They drew 3 and won 1 game.
Yes.
And they did finish indeed dead bottom.
Dead bottom.
And the only reason they didn't get relegated is because another team got relegated due to another stipulation rule. So they didn't get relegated. So Adam has one heck of a job.
One heck of a job.
One heck of a job.
It's not going incredibly well, although I am not bottom of the league.
Well, there you go.
I'll tell you that much.
So the goal in my mind
is a second win.
Is a second win, or at least more than 6 points throughout the course of the season.
I'm not sure exactly how many points we've got yet. Because we've been playing some FA Cup games as well. I've got a new Malaysian team to introduce you to. They're incredible. But I think we did quite well in the FA Cup. We almost got to the quarterfinals, which isn't bad.
That's not bad. That's a decent.
It isn't bad.
Decent one.
And we to be fair, it was 1-0 when we got kicked out of the tournament as well. So it's not a bad. We didn't get like demolished in the last game. So it's pretty good. We've definitely had a bunch more ties since then, and a couple of losses in the actual Malaysian Premier League. But it's actually that we're not a good team, and the fact that we're managing on some level is good. It's impressive. The team that I lost to in the Malaysian football FA Cup, was a team called Felder United.
Wait, sorry, Adam. Something gets me. Wow, you got kicked in the face and didn't lose all of your teeth. Good job, man.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
But you have to remember, this is the equivalent of a bunch of children going up against Jackie Chan.
Like, no, it legitimately
you
is.
didn't die.
It legitimately is. It's like, imagine going into the English Premier League and only entering a team full of 16-year-olds, and that's basically my team.
You never win everything, kids. That's a football joke for the people there.
Pretty much. I have one 19-year-old who is being eyed up by a professional team.
That was the other thing that made me laugh when you were showing me the team. And there's like a 21-year-old who's absolutely fuming because he can't play.
yeah. Because I can't play 20-year-old. I can't play fucking... it's ridiculous. I sold him for 2.5k. was all right.
Do you know what? That's a decent deal.
I put him on for 5K and he had a go at me. He was like, "What are you doing? Why are you trying to sell me for 5K, you dickhead? That's way too much money." And I was like, "Trust." And then they gave him an offer for 2.3K, I think it was actually then. And I was like, "Fuck it, we'll take that. That's fine."
That's a banger.
You're selling it. The player's complaining because you're selling him for too much money.
Yeah.
I've had that as well. I've had that on Football Manager as well. Issa Diop got very angry at me because I tried to sell him for 60 million to Newcastle. He got very angry at me, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they accepted it, and then he left, and I'm like, "Well, I was correct. Thank you very much."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's very weird.
They get very annoyed about random things.
They do. It reminds me of the last Football Manager game I played, 21, when I was loaning a player off Wayne Rooney's managed team. And
Derby.
Derby, and I was loaning a centre defender, and they can only play in centre defence. And after every single match where I played this person in centre defence in the correct position, Wayne Rooney would send me an email, a personal email to myself, saying, "We have to have a conversation about you and this player. You're not playing him in the right position." And I was like, "I am. I am." And he's like, "No. You're not playing him in the right position. I'm not having this. This is outrageous. I am playing him in the right position." He's like, "Right, well, you have to look at you one day." And
Yeah, I had the same thing, but the other way. So like, I can't remember who it was. I loaned a player to another team. I don't remember what it was. But they just kept playing him out of position for some reason.
Sure.
So like I think it was something like they were a left back and they kept playing them on the right wing or something like that. And my board or whatever were like, "Listen, you're gonna have to have a conversation with this guy." And I kept going up to him and being like, "Prof, are you able to play him in the right position?" And he would just be like, "I do what I like," and then the conversation would end, and I'd be like, "What's going on here?" Like, I'm just going, and like it kept happening on the dot every single month without fail. I would get a recommendation from my assistant or whatever saying, he's wasting him. He's playing him out of position. You've got to go and have a conversation with him. And then I'd go through the rigmarole of going up to him and be like, "Look, please. All I ask, like, because you know when you loan players as well, that's like one of the clauses they can have.
Yeah, you'd have to play in
must be played in this position or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like I had it in his clause, which was like he must be played in this position. And it was like, "No, I do what I want every time." And I'm like, "What is going on?" So it comes around to January, the next transfer window, and I recall him. I'm like, "Look, this is just not working out. I'm gonna call him back, whatever." And then he kicked off about that as well. And I'm like, "Bro, I don't know what you want from me. I gave you ample warning many, many times that I was not happy with this." And he was like, and then I get like a message from him. He's like, "Oh, we're not gonna deal again." And I'm like, what is going on here? It's like the equivalent of getting a job as like, I don't know, a receptionist or whatever, and then just never doing your job. And then when they fire you, going, "Well, I'm never going to work here again." It's like, yeah, that was what are you talking about? I don't understand why there's an issue here. You did this.
True. It was weird. Anyway, this new team that I lost to, I've just been reading their thing of it. They're a relegated Malaysia. This is fun. There used to be a Malaysia Super League team, so the league above us. They were relegated. And then as they were relegated, they made the announcement that they will no longer participate in the Malaysian Football League. They were just like, "Nah."
I could not respect it more heavily if I tried.
I suppose if like, "Yep, no, we can't be the top division. Let's just check out, boys."
We're
done here.
We're just gone. Their name is the Malaysian Federal Land Development Authority.
Yo, isn't that I was a niche music joke? Isn't that Fatboy Slim's ultimate artist name?
It might.
That isn't it. That is an what?
The Malaysian Federal Land Development Authority. United.
Of course. Sorry, of course.
Of course. Someone who was watching my stream was like, "This sounds like a illegal money laundering opportunity, if anything." It doesn't seem legit. So yeah, that was an idea. That was a good thing that happened.
Yeah, I can't necessarily say that I personally would vibe with it. To be honest,
You wouldn't play for Felder United.
Yeah, no, not for those conditions anyway.
No. So yeah, they were my. Their also nickname is the Fighters. I also found another team that one of my streamers, one of my my watchers was talking about, and they're basically just called the Police,
Yes.
and they are actually just the police, right?
The police, yes.
What?
Yes.
What? Sting and his mates.
Yeah, Sting and his mates. No, PDRM, which is police something, right? I don't know what they're actually called, but yeah, they're just the police team. So the Malaysian Premier League has a bunch of has the University of Technology in there. It has the police, whose nickname for the police is just the cops, right? They're just the cops.
Yeah, because there's a what do you call it? There is the Metropolitan Police do have a football team.
Polis Diraja Malaysia. Oh, do they?
But they're nowhere near. They're nowhere near the top 2 divisions. They're not competitive by any stretch.
No, it's the Malaysian Premier League is a mess, but a fun mess.
I love it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it a bit. It's been good fun. I do kind of want to move on from the Malaysian Premier League at one point, but I have been enjoying it, and I like. Since you told me about what it was, I actually kind of respected the idea of it a lot more. I think Project FA Malaysia is actually really cool. Like, just the idea of it's really cool.
So, yeah, I think it's a good idea as well.
I don't quite know how I feel about the police and the University of Technology or whatever being in there, but
I don't get what's your problem with Sting, man. Like, what's he done?
Sting can't play Malaysian football. He's not Malaysian.
Pass, man. You don't have to shoot all the time. He's getting fuming. He's absolutely fuming.
Well, I feel really annoyed for the most part that my team has to be all Malaysian, which I'm fine with. Apart from all these other teams have like fucking Brazilians in them. And I'm like...
Yeah, you've taken a L there. There was a couple. I was going through it. I was going through the Malaysian teams as we were talking about it, and even I recognised some of the players. Not a lot.
Really?
There's definitely some I recognised.
My God.
Yeah, so you've been done in a little bit now.
A little bit. But hey, I'm managing. I'm not bottom of the league, and I've played quite a few games now. I think I'm like 10th instead of 11th or something, but we have the possibility to shoot up again if we manage. And we've been very close to winning a few games that we absolutely shouldn't win. So, I mean, you know what? I'm okay with it.
Listen, 7 points is the goal.
I don't know how many I've got.
Unlike in real life, I don't think you can get relegated from that division in Football Manager.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, it might just fire you. But then again, because that's the goal.
The goal is to come bottom. So I'm unfireable at this point. Yeah, I'm
unfireable.
I am unfireable. I've given them their best performance ever, and their goal is last. So
they saw that unreal performance you had against the Japanese under-20s, and they were like, "This guy,
it was an unreal performance.
Unfireable. This is the one.
We're gonna go 22 grand in debt just to buy him." Which is real as well.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, sounds about right for the end of the podcast. Huh? Maybe. I've had a good time. I've had fun. Have you all had fun? Do you have a nice time?
Yeah. So I've got an important question for Charlie. Do you still hate David Moyes at the end of all this?
Yes. He's such a donut. All right, it's just very very briefly.
The football continues.
Very briefly, okay. Just sub him. Just change the boys. You bought Mikel Antonio is the one. Adam, as an experienced football manager,
of course, yeah, I am the best football manager.
You are the best. How many strikers do you have at Project FAM MSN?
I would say like 3, maybe.
Yeah, West Ham have 1.
Sure.
In the Premier League, we have 1.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right? and he is really a winger, but
Yeah.
he's just been playing up front for the last couple of years
Yeah.
because we literally do not have another striker.
Mm.
Now, imagine having one striker who also, by the way, is mad injury prone. Is probably the most injury prone player in your entire team.
Mm.
Like, my guy does not have hamstrings, he has cheese strings. Like, it is a problem. Okay, it's an issue. Yeah, and then just imagine playing him non-stop and then
I
complaining.
mean, you don't have an option
that
to
he's
not play him,
tired.
right? You don't have an option to not play him if you haven't got another person.
This is the thing. I agree, but do you know when the option comes in
Yeah.
the summer and in January?
Oh
when the
no, I
transfer
agree.
windows
I
open,
agree. Like,
and yet, do you know what he does instead of doing that? He just doesn't buy one.
as an
And then-
experienced and successful football manager, probably more experienced and successful than David Moyes, I would say the first thing that I would be looking for as the West Ham manager would be a second striker.
We had like 3 when he joined, and now we've got 1. He's dropped down, and then he complains about it being.
Oh, dare he be too tired.
And they get shouted on Twitter by people saying, "Oh, Joey, it is with West Ham buying loads of useless strikers."
Yeah, buy one. Just any.
Just
I don't
one.
care what it is,
Yeah,
what
just
it is, buy
one. Like, if you have one
look,
in your team, just have another.
Just have like that way. Mikel Antonio can play. I don't know, 3 out of 4 games instead of 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
And then guess what? They'll probably be ever so slightly better because he can be a little bit calmer. My man plays for Jamaica. He goes halfway around the world every 3 months. Like, I can't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Absolutely no. Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
He's done a very good job, but he's a stubborn idiot, and it's only going to end badly for him.
Yeah,
true.
and also we also didn't speak ever since the cat kicking incident.
Oh God.
That was
I've heard of this as well, and that's how much I know about football. So
well, you're experienced Malaysian Premier League manager.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. It's quite bad. Do you know what? Again, this is another. Just don't play him. It's not that difficult. Like, if it happens, like, you can't control it. Like, you can't. I'm not going to sit here and blame a manager for. If you're unaware,
of course.
One of West Ham's players got in trouble recently because a video that his own brother took of him and then posted on Instagram, which is a whole other set of conversations that probably should be had. Kicked their cat about in the kitchen.
That's ridiculous.
Which, is stupid. Now, there's a very easy solution to this problem, and it's you just don't play him. Just don't. It's not that complicated. Just don't play him. Like, I get it. He's a very, very, very good player for us. He's probably one of our best players. So it's annoying that he decided to do this. But again, just for like 2 games, just don't play him, and then let the heat die down, and then we'll probably be able to reintroduce him without. But instead, he put him straight in. The day he was on the front page of like The Sun for kicking a cat, he was starting a Premier League game for West Ham. I'm like,
Jesus.
It's so stupid.
Look, right, we lost one of our players. Like, so we had a player that we wanted to get rid of because he was terrible, but we wanted to lose him with a transfer fee, and we lost him with a prison sentence, Charlie.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I know. But imagine, right? And it's obviously what he did was significantly worse. Not what we should compare crimes, but significantly worse. But at the same time, imagine then just before you went to prison, like when the rumors came out or whatever, imagine going, yeah, but he's going to start today. It's so stupid. It's so unbelievably stupid. But football. It's one thing, Adam. I'm sure it's something you know all too well.
Something I deal with every day. Yeah.
It's a results-based business.
I think on a business perspective, I'd still probably play him if I could get away with it.
That's the thing. I mean, it depends what you can. It depends what you class as getting away with it, right? Like, he's not like David Moyes and West Ham aren't going to get in trouble for playing him.
No,
like,
of course not.
There will be no blowback at all.
Yeah,
like the blowback will be from like the media are very angry. Opposition fans boo him every time he touches the ball. Like, and there's a hell of a lot of comments about West Ham being morally bankrupt and a bunch of other things. But in terms of like actual fines or getting into trouble legally or anything like that, it's not going to happen. You're fine. It just is what it is. But it's one of those things where it's like it's the same as it's not exactly the same because again this is potentially a worse. Again, I don't want to compare crimes, but this is potentially a worse thing. But with Luis Suarez, for example, who unbelievably good footballer, one of the best strikers in the world over the last decade, incredibly good, but was also racist to Patrice Evra on the football field. I've always personally been of the stance that I wouldn't want that player to play for West Ham. Like, if he was a West Ham player, I would be like, I no longer want to see Luis Suarez play in the football field. Despite the fact, like you say, from a business perspective, you play him. Like, it's a different scenario. He did get fined. There was a whole court thing and everything else going on. So it's slightly different in the sense of it's not judged during execution of the public or whatever. It's judge, jury, and everything else of the judge and the jury. So there was a whole thing that went on. But like, I wouldn't want that person because it's also, you support the club, right? And it's like, I kind of don't like the idea of supporting that, for example. Now, again, it's difficult because you don't want to compare kicking a cat to racially abusing a fellow human.
No.
Or whatever. Like, it's obviously apples and oranges. You can't really, it's difficult to compare and contrast and to rank and whatever. This isn't a tier list, but I just find it, again, he's an incredibly good footballer, especially for West Ham. Since he's joined, I always thought he was good, but I was like, I think we've probably overpaid for him or whatever. He's turned out to be incredible for us. Like, he has been by far and away our best player, apart from, I mean, he's arguably been better than Declan Rice this year. Declan Rice is our best player, which shows you how important he is. But it's like, do you want to support that? And that's where it comes down to. And it's just, it just pisses me off because it gives me pause for thought, and that's not something that should happen.
No.
You know, I shouldn't have to think, do I really want to back this beef? but
True.
But then again, you don't have a choice, do you? It's like if you're Star Wars or Lucasfilm or whatever, and then you're like, yeah, we'll let David Cage make a Star Wars game. It's like you're asking people to make decisions at this point.
Fucking
I mean,
Videogames,
from the reports
please.
this week, it seems like that game's probably never going to come out anyway. But you know, you're asking people to make decisions, and I don't know if you probably should. It's probably easier not to. But
Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much, everyone who stopped by.
Thank you.
It's been a blast. It's been a good time. We'll be back next week on a podcast. But we're also up live tomorrow on the YouTube channel for some Overcooked. It's going to be a good time. So come check it out. Come have some fun with us. We will all be angry and shouting at each other, I'm sure.
I've decided to be calm this time.
Yeah, you have? Yeah? Okay. That's good to know.
I don't think it'll happen, but I've decided to.
Well, until then, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.